In this video we revisit Monza once again. This time though I have 3 races for you today, all of which have no shortage of classic Monza chaos. Especially the final race. There were even some battles down to the final corner of the final lap. So make sure you watch until the end, as this video is filled with the brim with action and chaos. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Enjoy the video. Right, so for the first race then we're actually starting in 5th place. Ahead of us we have the Saudi Arabian there, so it's supposed to be pretty nice to see another fellow Arabic person here in the lobby. Behind us we have the South African, who's actually in a Mercedes. We'll see more of him later. And let's focus now ahead of us. So as we go through the first corner, we're going to dive down the inside of the Saudi Arabian. Can we make the move? Leaving him as much space as we can. Spaniard, they're completely off the track, free position for us. We slightly get pushed off the track. We thankfully don't go onto the gravel, but we get overtaken by none other than the South African himself there in the Mercedes, who actually has a really nice livery there. Pretty much the same livery as the Mercedes F1 team, so that's pretty cool. Props to him for that. But let's just by his driving, shall we? So as we go through the first corner, we're going to send it down the inside nearly to the back of the Nissan. Can we make the move? Yes, we can. Up back into B4 then. I suppose up into B4 technically instead of 5th. And as we go through Lesmos, I actually accidentally stopped the recording there, so that's why there was like that weird jump there, so excuse that. Anyway, back to the race then. South African putting pressure on us there as we go through Ascari. Thankfully he doesn't get the move done yet. However, the scary part is through Parabolica, and more importantly through the first chicane, because first chicane is a very good overtaking opportunity, obviously, as it's a chicane. So we're probably going to need a good exit out of Parabolica, get him out of slipstream range. As long as he's slipstream range, we're kind of doomed to be overtaken. So through Parabolica then, he's actually going to go really close. Trying to get the best exit I can, but I don't quite get a bit of a slide there on the exit. Behind us though, he does get a good exit, so I stick over to the right hand side. Make sure I go as defensive as I can. But for some random reason, he doesn't tuck in the slipstream, so it's a loss for him, buddy. As we go through the first corner, he's going to give me a bump from the back. I think he pressed on the brake maybe too late, or maybe I was just too early, who knows. And yeah, I thankfully managed to catch the car, pressed as hard as I could on the brakes there trying to catch that, and we succeeded. We don't lose too much time. He's still behind us though. Saudi Arabian there pulling, slowly edging away from us, so I suppose we just have to focus on not being overtaken by the mark behind us there. As we go through the second chicane, is he going to be close enough for a move? Not even, but he's going to be right in the radar. You could see him in the radar there. He's going to be very close. Probably best overtaking opportunity first corner, so that's probably what it should be aiming for. But looking ahead of us though, you can see the German there making a massive slide there on the exit of Lesmos 1, and he's going to do the same thing on the exit of Lesmos 2.
Nice.
Thank you very much. Free position there, back up into B3. Ahead of us, Saudi Arabian pulled away by quite a margin, so I suppose it's a double Arabic podium now. Behind us though, the South African really close still in slipstream range. Obviously I'm in the Corvette and he doesn't seem to be the fastest of drivers, to be honest. However, I think the slipstream is helping him quite a lot, because through Monza, as you can clearly tell, it's just a whole bunch of long straights and a few chicanes here and there. So slipstream, extremely important around here. So as we go through Parabolica, I'm going to go extremely defensive. He's going to pull over to the left hand side, so I open the track back up. Through Parabolica, he's not going to be able to go for a move. He's going to get really close though. You can see him in the radar in the bottom right. And that's going to allow him to get a much better exit onto the main straight here. So he's going to stay in the slipstream. I'm once again going to go as defensive. I'm going to go defensive. Slightly defensive, I suppose, in the middle of the track. I'm going to give him the inside line though, because remember what happened last time with that random dive bomb. So I was a bit scared here that he's going to do that again. But he's going to suddenly move over to the right hand side.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
So he suddenly moves over to the right on the inside line and just completely outbrakes himself and flies, God knows where he went, gets sent to the shadow realm. As for me though, as we go through the first corner of the first chicane, I actually slightly went on the white curb there. That gave me a 1 second time penalty. And as we go through Lesmos, on the entrance of Lesmos 2, I actually made a slight mistake there on the entrance, touched the grass. And this is where I served the penalty. Are we going to lose the position? Nope, the South African is way too far behind, but also the Saudi Arabian is way too far ahead. So we don't gain or lose any positions until the end of the race. And we managed to finish on the podium, so pretty pleased with that result, considering we started 5th. Double Arabic podium, Saudi Arabian and Jordanian, not Emirati, okay? That flag, I just lived there. I said that before, I think. Anyway, so on to the second race then. Now the second race is bring all the chaos from the first race and multiply that by 10, and then the next race multiply by 20. Anyway, so in this first race starting 5th, ahead of us we have 2 Aston Martins, both of them Spanish drivers, and then behind us we have the German. So as we go through the first corner, I'm going to try to go for a move on the Spanish there. Actually suddenly moves to the right hand side. I go into his back, there's a French guy off the circuit, and there's a Corvette there who's gone, spinning on the gravel, going side by side with the Italian there, not German, sorry. And I get a better exit than him through Curva Grande and actually make a move since I have the inside line, or I stay ahead of him. So up into P3 already, so great start there. And as we go through the second chicane, I'm going to try to make a move on the Spaniard there. Can we make the move stick? Not quite. There's a guy from behind me who ran me from the back, forced me off the track, forced me to cut the second corner. Thankfully, no penalties were given. And there he is. I believe it's the German there, and I think it's an Audi. So, yeah, now back to P4 then. The leader has a penalty though, and as we go through Lesmos 2, looking for a move on the German. Obviously, not going to go for a move there, not really the best place to go for a move. Leader serving this penalty, is it going to be enough for me to get the position? The 2 people ahead of me got the position, and it was enough for me to get the position, so thank you very much. Up into P3, back on the podium then. Through Ascari, the 2 guys ahead of us having a very aggressive battle. German off the track, getting pushed by the Spaniard, and up into second place then. So, Spaniard, I think we're just within slipstream range. So, perhaps going for a move on the first chicane would be ideal, but we need to get a good exit from Parabolica. And as we go through Parabolica, we get really close to him. And on the exit, just like we wanted, they actually get a better exit than him, and especially with the power of the Corvette or the Chevrolet that we're driving. Really quick in a straight line, especially compared to the Aston Martin of his. As we go through the first corner, look how much we just managed to catch up here. And then on the braking, we're going to be close enough to go for a move. Yeah, way more than close enough. The long way around through the first corner, there's a car behind, it can be a bit of a tap from the back. And sadly we couldn't leave him enough space. I tried my best to leave him as much space as I could. But obviously from the tap from, I think that's a Corvette behind us, currently going side by side with us. Give us a bit of a tap, couldn't really leave him much space, and he got forced off track. But this is where it all starts to go down south. As we go through the second chicane, Corvette going for a move down the inside. However, there's the German is back, and he goes for a random move midway through the corner, forces me onto the curb. I lose complete control of the car, and I just hit the barrier, and I drop all the way down to 8th place. But this at least took it to the good side. Ahead of us, the person in P7 has a half a second time penalty. The guy ahead of him also has a penalty. So, and the guy behind me just made a mistake. So, not really, could have been worse, I suppose. Still pretty bad though, don't get me wrong. And as this guy serves his penalty, it's going to be more than enough for me to go up into 7th place then. So currently in 7th. Now keep an eye out on the radar as we go through Ascari, because you'll see. So keep an eye out on the radar, bottom right. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there, but goes for a random dive bomb, kind of a dive bomb, more of a snipe to be honest. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, as we'll see in a few minutes, but he gets himself 2 penalties there for a total of 3 seconds time penalty. As we go through Parabolica, we're actually going to catch up to him very quickly, so he wasn't that quick through here. And we can see 5th place is directly in sight. So, as you can imagine now, it was a bit of a dilemma here if I should go for a move or not, because we see what he did. So I gotta go for a dummy, I go to the outside and then, or the left hand side, then quickly switch to the right hand side. And it works, but as you can imagine, I was a bit nervous going through the first corner in case he's gonna do whatever he just did there again. So I move over to the right hand side, just in case if he's gonna go for that snipe again, that I'll be away. But he oddly enough doesn't, instead he goes wide on the exit. So perhaps he didn't even do it on purpose through Ascari. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, so now we can focus on the right ahead of us there in P6. P4 even has a penalty, and P5 is directly inside. So if we can get maybe a few laps there, we might be able to catch up. However, the British there getting himself a penalty. Presumably he got the corner, obviously. However, he goes wide through Lesmos 1, and as we go through Lesmos 2, he's going to make a similar mistake and just going to render the penalty completely useless. and it's a free position nonetheless. So up into P5 then. Skipping forward to lap 4, about the start of lap 4 through the second chicane. You can see the group ahead of us, 3 cars there having a very aggressive battle. I make a bit of a mistake through the next corner, but the French guy there, getting him, or I think that's Italian actually. No, it's the French guy, sorry. He gets himself a penalty. Not sure for what. Perhaps maybe he made contact or just got the corner. And he's about to serve the penalty now, so this is going to be enough for me to go up into 5th place. So we would have achieved our goal if we get ahead of the French, and it's going to be more than enough. So once again, thank you very much. Free position up into P5. And P4 directly ahead of us. In fact, I believe we're in slipstream range. And ahead of him, P3 as well. However, through Ascari, I was a bit late on the brakes, or maybe it was a bit early. And I give a bit of a tap from behind, and I get a 1-second penalty for that apparently. I don't know if it was for that or maybe because they cut the first corner through Ascari. But anyway, on the exit of Ascari we have the speed, so we go for a move. No, that is going to count because I have a penalty anyway. However, through the final corner, guy ahead of me also has a penalty, so maybe if he makes a mistake, or if I somehow go fast enough, maybe we'll be able to go for a move there. So I go all or nothing basically because I had nothing to lose, and I go as fast, as early on the throttle as I can through Parabolica. But yeah, I suppose it doesn't work. I get re-overtaken by the Italian, and I finish in P5. So I suppose not as bad as it could have been considering we managed P5, but it is what it is. Now time for the 5th race, probably, if not definitely, the most chaotic from all the races. So once again, starting in 5th place. Seems to be a pattern here. Ahead of us we have the Nissan there, the Russian driver, and obviously turn 1 always going to be as chaotic as ever, so we're going to try to go for a move in the Nissan. A little bit late on the brakes, and as the Swiss guy, I think that's the Swiss flag, I'm not sure, turns, I kind of just go into him and I force him to spin. He goes straight through me. I need to get pushed wide by the Nissan, and I gave myself a 2-second time penalty. To be fair, that was my fault. But yeah, so ahead of us now we have the Spaniard. Now we're down back to 5th place, I suppose. We haven't really gained or lost. I suppose we have a penalty though. Through the second chicane, usually as chaotic as the first. Spaniard there going really deep. I also slightly overbrake myself, sticking behind the Russian. Now tell me this, alright? Someone explain this to me. When did I collide with another car? It just says collided with another car and it gave me another 1-second time penalty. Someone play that again and tell me what collision there, what collision existed there in the first place. And if there was any, is it really worthy of a 1-second time penalty? So we start with the penalty, total 3 seconds, and drop all the way down to 6th, actually make that 7th as this German here goes by me, and remember the German for a few seconds later now, this next lap here. As we go through Ascari then, under pressure from the car behind as well from the Brit, nearly went ahead of me, thankfully though we didn't get overtaken. And as we go through the back straight, I suppose second back straight, same as slipstream because he's just weaving a lot there. As we go through Parabolica, the Belgian there deciding that he doesn't want to be in the track anymore and instead opts for doing donuts on the exit of Parabolica. Now this is where the chaos, well I suppose the chaos already started, this is where more chaos starts to happen I guess. As we try to overtake this guy, we try and go down the inside, but he's not too happy with that and he just squeezes us to the wall onto the grass. And yeah, obviously I can't stop the car. He goes deep, really deep, gets resetted. I also get resetted, and I come out in 7th place, and there he is. And the game deciding that it wants to unghost me at just the wrong time. The poor, not sure what that car that was actually, I can't pay attention. But the guy there, the red car, just goes right through him and pushed him off the track. The man who tried to crash me. So karma for him, I guess. And focusing now on the car ahead and the car behind as well. There's a few cars behind. The Spaniard there also deciding that he doesn't want to be on the track and opts for doing more 360s on the edge of the track. And we actually get a 1/2-second time penalty here because we cut the corner. Now the car ahead of us also has a 1/2-second time penalty. However, this might seem like a good thing, the fact that I'm not gonna serve the penalty this round, so I have time to build a gap. And while you might be right, it should normally be a good thing, as I think what happens with me is not a good thing. So as we go through Ascari then, currently in P5, so back where we started I guess. However, pay attention as we go through the final corner through Ascari. I have 2 wheels all wheels on the curb, and it gives me another half a second time penalty. And as we go through the chicane for the third time again, once again I have 1 or 2 wheels on the yellow sausage curb there, and I get another half a second time penalty. So it was once half a second, now became 1.5 seconds. And that is going to be more than enough for the British behind me there to retake this position. That's the same man who served the penalty last round. He's going to be able to retake it now fairly easily because of my very clean driving and respecting of track limits. Man, the track limits in Gran Turismo really straight sometimes. I suppose just like F1. Anyway, so skipping to the final lap through the Lesmos. P5 ahead of us. It's pretty obtainable now. Maybe if we can go for a move through the final lap here as we go through Lesmos 2 for the final time. He actually goes a bit wide on the exit, so we try to maximize the slipstream advantage and maybe line him out for a move through Parabolica or the Ascari or somewhere in between. So through Ascari we're not close enough for a move, however instead we want to focus on the exit so we can maybe go for a move through Parabolica. It's a little bit risky but it's doable. And on the back straight, once again tucking in the slipstream as much as possible. You can see he's gone all the way to the right hand side. I'm not sure if he's being defensive or he's just staying there. But now he's definitely being defensive, and we will go for the outside line because obviously we might be able to get him with a better exit. And sadly though, we actually go for a bit of a slide there, a bit overcooking it on the brakes, and perhaps pushed a bit too hard, too eager under throttle, and he ends up ahead of me. So we're unable to get the P5 finish, but at least we finished P6. Probably not the best of races, but pretty tight there at the end. But that's also going to be the end of this video. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button down below. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing because 80% of you are not actually subscribed. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.